Hey guys, it's Scott here with Adventure Indiana, and today I got a new video for you here in the HQ, and I'm going to do a video that kind of different than any of the other videos I've done so far. Today's going to be a arts and crafts video, kind of in Adventure Indiana style. But keep with me, it's a cool idea, I think you'll like it, so check it out. So one thing I've always liked doing is putting things in a jar, like a collection of things, putting them in a jar or a glass bottle. I think it displays really nice, looks kind of cool. So here's an example of something I've got. This is a jar of beach glass that I collected on the beach, Lake Michigan. So it's just a mason jar full of beach glass. If you don't know what beach glass is, it's basically broken glass that's made its way into moving water of some sort, maybe the ocean with the waves going in and out, or a large lake like Lake Michigan, or a stream or a creek, something like that. Basically anywhere where there's moving water that will tumble that piece of broken glass along in the sand and the rocks and so on. And what it'll do is it'll round off all the sharp edges of the glass. It'll make a clear piece of glass opaque in time, and the longer that piece of glass has been out in that water being tumbled around, the more and more opaque it will get. So it looks really cool. So I got to thinking, what can I do to kind of take this up a step? What could I do to really make this kind of cool? So I came up with this thing. I call this the beach glass nightlight. So basically what it is a glass jar. It's full of beach glass. But inside I have an LED light. And I took a drill bit and I drilled a hole in the bottom of the jar here so my cord can come out. This isn't the little cheap LED lights that run on like a battery pack. These actually plug in. And what's really cool is the lights come with a remote control. So you can, it's almost infinite number of things that you can change around on how these lights look. You can change the color, it's programmable, it's got all kinds of different effects and things that you can do. You can just do all kinds of stuff with it. So what I'll do is I'll turn off the lights here in the garage. I'll turn this on so you can kind of see what it looks like. It's really, really neat looking. And I'll show you what some of the things you can do with the remote. And then what I'll do is I'll deconstruct this and show you exactly what I did for the lights and how I kind of put this together. Alright guys, as you can see, here's the nightlight all lit up. And these lights, like I said, they're programmable. And so the lights, just right out of the box, they come with 7 or 8 pre-programmed different lighting effects that you can have, and this is just where it's going to fade out in and out, and it's going to go through all the different colors of light that it can do. One of if you don't like this, you can pick a different pre-program. You can speed the effect up, or you can slow it down. I think right now I have it on the slowest setting for the fade. I kind of like it that way. It's kind of cool and kind of chill. But you can speed it up here. I can see if I can make it go a little faster with the remote. Speed it up a little bit so it fades in and out a little faster. You can kind of see now it's pulsing pretty quick. I kind of cranked it up a little bit. There's some other different effects that it'll do. Let's see, you can make it, if you don't want it to do anything, you can just set it to be just a solid color. So that's the white light. You can make it blue. Here's one that's kind of a green or red. You can just set it to whatever you want, and you can also make it a little dimmer if you want. See, I'm turning it down so it's not quite as bright. Turn it up where it's full bright. But anyway, you can see how all the different colors of glass really come out differently, especially when you have it, you know, on the fade setting where it changes the lights automatically, and it just really brings out those colors. There's clear glass in there. There's the green, cobalt blue, amber, just all kinds of different colors of glass, and it's all around there. The glass completely surrounds the LED lights. And one of the things that I wanted to do on this project is I did not want you to be able to see the individual lights themselves. I just wanted to look like just a jar of glass. I didn't want you to be able to see the light source. And so I think it looks really good. It looks great. I think just sitting on a shelf when it's not on. But then it looks really good when you turn it on. And so, you know, I've left this light on all day and all night. It doesn't get hot, you know, so I don't have any worries about it catching on fire or anything like that. We've left it on all night. Now I wouldn't, you know, go away for a week of vacation or something and leave it on, but we've certainly left it on all night with no problem. But really cool idea. And I'll turn the light back on here so you can see what it looks like in a lit room. But I just wanted to show it off here at first with just the lights off. And then like I said, I'll deconstruct this jar and I'll show you how I made it and go from there. Okay, so this is the jar here in the garage with the lights on. Obviously I didn't change anything else but just turning on the lights. Now this is going to look a little nicer. This looks a little nicer in the house because the you know, it's not as near as bright in the house as it is out here in the garage. I have 4-foot fluorescent light bulbs out here in the garage hanging from the ceiling, and then I have 2 really bright LED lights shining down on in the garage here too. So got a lot of light out here. So this is really washed out, but I think you can still see it looks really good. So we'll take this apart and we'll talk about how I made it. Alright, so I deconstructed the jar just so you can see what I've done. I can talk about it a little bit more. So let's first talk about the lights, I guess. So when you buy the lights, I bought these from Amazon. They comes with a kit. You get this power supply here. This is what it plugs into, and then there's a little sensor here that the remote runs off of or connects to. And this is your remote. And I mean, gosh, there's just a million things you can do with this remote. You know, I just leave it on that fade setting, and then I don't ever mess with it. But there's a lot you could do if you wanted to. The lights, they come on this spool, and again, they are LED, and the lights are trimmable. So you just basically take off what you're going to use off this roll, and then this plugs into one of these power supplies. And you can't just cut these lights just anywhere. Every like 2 inches or so you see these this gold strip here. There's a little icon of a scissor, and you can basically cut this strip across that little gold piece, and you see it about like I said, about every 2 inches. And these lights are adhesive backed, so it's like a sticker. It's got a backing, and then you can stick them on whatever. So let's talk about the jar for a minute and what I did there. Like I said, I did not want you to be able to see the lights inside of the jar. I wanted you to see the light, but not the lights themselves. And so what I did here was I took like a Campbell's soup can, and I washed it out really, really well with soap and water. And I took the open side and I faced it down. And I took those LED lights and I wrapped them around this can to make this kind of this thing of lights here. And you can see that some of my glass is stuck on this piece of on the back of the lights there where they popped off the can. But it is sticky. So it's really cool. So then after I put this can in here with the lights, I filled all this void up with all this glass. And to get my cord out, what I did was I took a special drill bit to drill a hole in the back of the jar. I got my drill bit here from Menards. Hold on, I'll show you. What did I do with that? Oh, right here. So this is the drill bit that I used, and it worked really well. This was it's a specialty bit, so I mean it did cost a little bit. I think this was like $10 or $12 from Menards. But you drill a hole, and what I did was I used my cordless drill bit, or I used my cordless drill, and I drilled this under a faucet of running water. And when you go to drill this, you want to start your hole at an angle, and you know, as this is spinning, you don't want to push down on it. You don't want to try to push it through at all. Just let the weight of the drill, and that's all you need to push on it. But as this is spinning at an angle, it'll start to dig in, and then you start to make your drill more and more straight, to where you're going straight in, and then just let it go through. It'll take 2 or 3 minutes of drilling. But what you want to do when you're drilling that, you want to run it under water. You want to keep it under running water, because this will get really, really hot. And if this gets hot, it's going to crack and it's going to break your glass, and then you're going to mess up your jar. But this is just a jar from Walmart, by the way, like a cracker jar or something. And then when I was done, what I did is I put a little silicone around here to kind of protect this wiring from that sharp edge, for one thing. And then two, you can see that I've got a lot of little pieces of glass that would maybe fall out of the back of that hole. I didn't want that, so that little thing of silicone there just kind of did a lot for me. Now let's talk about the glass. So, you know, when you go out bottle digging or metal detecting, walking along the creek or whatever, one thing you always find a lot of is broken glass, unfortunately. And so I started actually picking up glass and bringing it home, and like, you know, these was probably like you know, just modern Bud Light bottles, you know, that was either whole, and I brought them home and I broke them, and then or whatever, or, you know, some pieces I actually found that was real beach glass. But if you can't find enough glass, you know, out, you know, that would be suitable to use, you know, this actual beach glass, what I was doing was I was bringing home bottles and stuff that I would find. I'd break it up, and then I would put it into a rock tumbler. So this is a rock tumbler that you'd use to polish rocks with. I got this from Harbor Freight. This has two individual barrels that you can load up, so you can do twice as much. I would load these barrels up with about maybe up to here. You know, if this is the bottom of the barrel, I'd load it up to maybe here, and then I would use the coarsest grit for the rock tumbler. And what I ended up doing was I ordered about a pound or a pound and a half of really coarse grit from Amazon, I think. And I use that really coarse grit for tumbling the glass. And I would put about a teaspoon or so of the grit in each one of these barrels with the glass, and then I would fill up the barrel with water. I'd put the water level just below the top level of the glass, just like you would if you was going to tumble rocks. And I'd let this thing eat for about 3 days, and then I would get, you know, some really nice pieces of glass out of this. And I've made 3 or 4 of these lights now, and I made one for my mom, and the one I made for my mom was really cool because I used bigger pieces of glass, you know, but you can use bigger, smaller, you can, you know, whatever you want to do. You can really get a lot of different look with it, and you can use any glass bottle. If you don't have time to go out and find, you know, the beach glass and do stuff like that, well, what I did with some of this was I just went to, for one of these, and it might be this one, I think, that I went and bought a bunch of cheap wine glasses from the dollar store, and they had these really nice cobalt blue ones, for example, and then they had some different, like yellow. I know I got this color from there, but you know, buy a couple glasses. I think I bought like maybe 8 or 9 glasses. I broke those up, threw them in the rock tumbler, and turned out great. Actually, one of the best colors, I think, one of my favorite colors inside the lamp when the lamp is on is actually an amber color beer bottle. I don't know, it kind of it's off like a purpley color when light goes through it. It looks really neat. But yeah, there's nothing to it. You know, you can make one of these lights in just a few days, especially if you have a rock tumbler. I got this rock tumbler from Harbor Freight. I think ordinarily everyday price on this is like 35 bucks. And I know I didn't pay full price for it. I probably got this with like a 20 or 25% off coupon. But this is just a really cool thing to have anyway, even if you don't make one of these lamps. I use this thing all the time. A couple weeks ago in one of my last videos, I had I took and found a bunch of shells that I put into a wine bottle, and those shells was just packed full of mud and nastiness. They was all dirty. They was from the river. I loaded these barrels up with those shells. I put some water in there with just some dish soap, and in about a half hour they were perfectly clean, no mud or anything. So I mean, I use this a lot. You can clean coins with it. If you want to save up all your clad that you find when you go out metal detecting, and you want to go change that in or cash that in at the bank, and you want to clean your clad, rock tumbler will do real well for that. So I'll go ahead and put this back together, and we'll see what we got. Alright, so I'm going to put this jar back together, and like I said, the inside of this can, or the inside of this jar, I have my lights wrapped around a can, and again, it's a soup can that I've put the open side down, and you want to make sure that if you use a can like that, that number one, the can is empty. You want to make sure the can is washed out really, really well, and it's really, really dry. You don't want any moisture in here or any kind of, you know, nastiness that can grow or whatever. But when you go to put this can, or go to put your light together, you want to hold on to this, and you want to start filling in all the way around and kind of build up, you know, all the way around, and check it every once in a while. You know, make sure your lights are straight up and down. Make sure they're straight in the middle of the of your jar here. And you know, you can use whatever size jar you want. This is just like a cracker jar that I got from Walmart. You know, you could make a really big jar if you wanted to. If you buy a set of these LED lights from Amazon, you can see I've got a ton of lights left. I mean, I could really have put, you know, made a really tall jar. I made one of these jars for my mom. Her jar was a lot bigger. She picked out a bigger jar than what I had, and hers is like that. It turned out really good. I wish I would have that here for this project, but you know, anyway, we got Christmas coming up. These make a great gift if you want to make somebody one. If you can't get one done by Christmas, Valentine's Day, maybe for your wife or girlfriend or something like that. But everybody that I've made one of these jars for has really liked it. They really appreciated it. Like I said, I'm not saying that I'm the first person to ever done this or the only person to ever done this. I'm just saying that I did think of this on my own. You know, this is kind of a neat idea. I'm sure someone else has done it, but as far as I know, you just can't go buy one of these. You know, I've never seen one in a catalog or a store. Never seen anything like this in a store. So it is kind of unique. It's one of a kind item that you can give somebody. I've made a few of these now, and you know, no two of them look the same, that's for sure. And you can come up with all kinds of variations of this. I've actually thought about maybe just making one with all clear glass, you know, just rock tumble a whole bunch of clear glass and see what that would look like. I've actually thought about making another one and using just the really small pieces of glass instead of the bigger pieces of glass. Just see what that real tight packed glass would look like in there with all the little pieces. I mean, you could come up with all kinds of different ways, different variations. But again, I hope you like this project. I like making something out of something that I found. And I did find a lot of this glass. I mean, a lot of this glass was like modern glass that I picked up along the river. Some of it was broke. Well, most of it was broke. Bud Light bottles, whiskey bottles, stuff that you see all the time. So just stepping over that stuff, I started picking it up. I'd bring it home. If it was whole or if it was a big piece, I'd put it in a paper bag and I'd break it out here in the garage on the floor and break it up into smaller pieces and then throw it in the rock tumbler and let it go. But if you do find a piece of beach glass and it's already, you know, all ready to go, like this stuff was, I mean, you can throw it right in your jar and you don't have to do the rock tumbler. But you know, if you want to get one of these lights done in a hurry, I recommend just going to the dollar store, buying a bunch of cheap wine glasses. They come in all different colors, and you know, they'll look really neat when you get them done in the rock tumbler. So again, thanks for watching my videos. I should try to get one more video out by the end of this year. I'm going to try to do a wrap-up video for season 1 of Adventure Indiana. We've got it's December. It's coming up on Christmas. It's really cold here, so I don't think I'm going to get out and do any more bottle digging or anything like that for a while. But I'll do one more video, and just wanted to get this one out and show you this idea I had. Thanks for watching.